Is this the most important race of the season?
Yes, you've got to win at Vegas. One, how stacked the field is, and two, the outlier of Talladega being the second race of this round.
The NASCAR playoffs continue. 8 drivers have advanced, and now they head west to Las Vegas to keep their title hopes alive. I'm your host, Steve Letarte, joined by Todd Gordon. Todd, let's jump right in. First driver, top of the standings, Denny Hamlin, currently 8 above.
Yeah, dominated Kansas, even with a power steering issue. Didn't end up with a win, but I think that's part of what the challenge is for this 11 team. I think Denny's in his prime as far as his execution. We got to get the team to execute that level.
Yeah, I think you're being a little nicer than perhaps we could be. I think that Denny Hamlin is doing everything he wants. We're going to talk about his race with Bubba Wallace, but that is what you get out of a race car driver. Mechanical issue last year, the power steering belt flipped over and he hit the fence at Kansas. Pit stop at Kansas is really what eliminated it, right? So is it as simple as that for the 11? Like if they could just keep the car going straight, should the 11 make it to Phoenix?
I think so. Execution. They've got to clean up the execution, especially in this round because you've got 2 opportunities.
All right, well, let's jump down the list. Ryan Blaney, 6 points above. Speed, and more speed. That's been the story for the 12 car. They have not really lacked at any race.
No, I feel like this is one of the fastest cars week in and week out. And Blaney has been that way since I worked with him or as a teammate. He was the fastest guy in the building, always driving that. They've had they've had issues with hitting things. You go back to like Vegas in the spring, had a tire go down in practice, started to tail. Having to drive back through the field, I think it puts pressure on him he doesn't need to have.
Yeah, it's exhausting, right? Because they did start 35th. Now, they got all the way up to near the front of that race, but then ended up 35th in a wreck. So I'm the same way. The problem I have with Blaney is I don't know how you work this 12 car to get it to the finish.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you got to put Ryan in situations where Ryan can be successful doing his type of things.
Yeah, right. You have to be comfortable for sure. Speaking of comfort, is the comfort back for the 5 of Kyle Larson? This guy's fast everywhere he goes. He kind of disappeared over the summer. I guess simply, is he back?
Yes, I think he is. After watching the race that we saw at the Roval and how he raced SVG at the Roval, got moved a little bit, said, no, I'm not going to take that. He door jammed him back, raced him hard. That kind of, I felt like I was seeing Kyle Larson of old coming back, and this 5 team's hitting at the right time.
Yeah, because when you think about Kyle Larson, you think about checkered flags. That's really the thing. You know, you score a lot of points when you win. He has had some cases over the years of maybe pushing a little too hard. Self-admittedly, he'll say that he had to learn to manage it. But when they manage it and they have speed, it's not little speed, it's dominant speed. And mile and a halfs really jump out. So I don't know why the 5 can't win this weekend.
I think they can. I think they got to be one. I mean, they're one of 8, but I think they got to be one of the guys that will be near the top of the betting board.
Well, focusing on the drivers above, let's go to Larson's teammate, William Byron, also 4 points above. Great speed, struggled to close it out at the beginning of the year, right? Remember, Darlington, they led laps, they got passed late. You had Charlotte, they led laps and passed late. Where do you make the 24? You know, what's your case for the 24 at the moment?
I'm a little anxious right now about the 24 because I feel like we look at all the stats and all the laps led at mile and a halves. All those happened before Charlotte in May. And really through the summer, the late summer, I feel like there's been a little bit of a downturn, but we're back to mile and a half racing. This could be the switch that turns it back on for them.
Yeah, there's something that this 24, William Byron and Rudy Fugle together, they have figured out at those mile and a halves. I mean, you look at it right there, finished 4th in the last 2 Las Vegas races. So, you know, if he doesn't win, he goes there, runs 4th. He's 4 above right now, kind of builds that cushion. We will see. I guess that's the question. Is a cushion enough? We have 8 heavyweights. Vegas a winner?
I think you've got to win at Vegas.
Okay.
And I think because, one, how stacked the field is, and 2, the outlier of Talladega being the second race of this round.
So if we assume a winner at Vegas, I'm going to assume a winner at Martinsville as well. Who knows what happens at Talladega? That only leaves 2 spots and points.
Yes. So I mean, and top 5ing I don't think is going to do it here. You're going to have to be near winning. I look for these 8 to be all in the top 10.
All right, well, those are the 4 above. Now let's focus on the 4 below, barely below. And hard to believe I'm even using the word below when it comes to Christopher Bell. I mean, he's qualified first, finished second the last couple Las Vegas races. The big thing for me in the 20 isn't if he's going to be fast. Is this finally the year, A, he breaks through at Vegas, and more importantly, if he doesn't, if he gets beat like he got beat last year by Joey Logano with the dominant car on the 20, no doubt, right? But is that air out of the balloon, or is that momentum that we're that good?
I think it's momentum that they're that good because you look at it, and he and Adam Stevens have dominated. They've had just raw speed the last 2 fall races
Right.
here. We played this one earlier with Kyle Larson, but he was running him down and about to pass him. Joey Logano, he had pitted and was coming back. Logano was playing a fuel strategy, but they've got speed. They know how to have speed, and they've executed decently. They just haven't come up with a W. I would look for them to chase that W this weekend.
All right, from crazy speed to crazy consistent. So let's talk
Yes.
about the driver 9, Chase Elliott. He's a little bit further down, 14 points below, got that breakthrough win at Kansas, second of the year. Where's the 9?
The 9 is perfectly executing very well. I don't think they have great speed. They've got good speed. They're the most consistent team we've got. Even this win at Kansas, they didn't pull out and win this race. The guys they kept themselves in position to take advantage of others, as we'd see Denny and Bubba running up the track. They haven't had that just raw kill 'em speed, but they've been in the mix the whole time. This is one that I could see pointing his way through.
So the only challenge I will make is I agree that the 9 executes on Sunday. They need to execute on Saturday for me. There's a lot that goes into a weekend, and it really starts with practice and then in qualifying. If you go back to Kansas, right, that's the first race in these playoffs that he has qualified inside the top 5, right? They put themselves behind. They qualify outside the top 20. It's mentally exhausting to try to have to work your way up through the field. Plus, you don't get to work on your car.
That's the part. As a crew chief, when you look at, if you qualify 25th and you're racing back there, the adjustments you're making on your car to pass cars back in 25th are not the adjustments you want in your race car to challenge for the lead. So you put yourself behind the guys that are running up front on your adjustments for the day. Starting up front keeps you in that mix, and therefore you can work on your car and you can continue the path that everybody else is on.
Well, if they gave points for qualifying, the next driver wouldn't be below the cut line. Chase Briscoe, first year at Gibbs, also 14 below. The easiest bet in Vegas might be to bet on Chase Briscoe sitting on the pole. 7 times he's done it this year. So if he's that good on Saturday, what does he need on Sunday, or does he need anything different than what he's been doing? He scored the most points of anyone.
I don't think they need to change anything. And really, you talked a little bit about it. They put themselves, they were below the cut line, came above. Reset below, came above. They're reset below right now. Just do the things that they've been doing. They've been executing at a level that's really impressive, especially since the win at Pocono.
So this is that big win at Darlington. You mentioned the win at Pocono. Okay, you're James Small. You have Chase Briscoe. He's been in the playoffs but for SHR. Now he's in the playoffs for Joe Gibbs Racing. How do you not let the moment of going to Vegas, now that the championship 4 is right there, you can reach it, how do you keep him kind of in the moment of just worrying about Vegas?
I think you approach the weekend the same way you have every weekend to this point this year. It's the same thing. We're going for a race. We're going to see what we can do here. You've got great speed. We're building off that. You're just talking about all the success you've had to get to this point and continuing that forward.
Business as usual is what you're going to try to preach. Well, I guess it's business as usual for the driver of the 22, Joey Logano. Every year he's counted out. Every year he finds a way to advance. He did it again at the Roval, and now here he is. But this time further behind than ever, 24 points behind. So before we talk about Joey, just talk math. 24 points, does the 22 have to win?
Yes. I feel the 22 has to win because you look at their execution of the year. They don't go out and score stage wins. They don't go out and stack points. Yeah. They go out and manufacture finishes. That's something that Joey Logano and Paul Wolfe do a great job of, is figuring out how to manufacture finishes. If you think back to last year, Nashville, he wasn't the fastest car there. They stretched the fuel to get there. Last year, this race at Vegas, I felt like that played right out for them. It was right in their wheelhouse. Fuel mileage race, put themselves in victory lane. They fabricate finishes. I don't know that they fabricate the most points. So looking at that, I feel like they've got to win.
And as crazy as it sounds, with everything we just said, he might be the most dangerous if he gets to Phoenix, right? Because Penske cars at this style track are so good. You have Blaney and Logano still in it. So at 24 points behind, it's Logano's task now to somehow try to manufacture what he did a year ago, win in that first race. So the question is very simple. Talladega has always been kind of a challenge in the playoffs. Now it's in the round of 8. Does that make this weekend at Las Vegas, other than the championship race, is this the most important race of the season?
Yes, always has been. The first race of the third round has always, to me, is the most important because Joey Logano, 3 times he's won championships. All 3 times he's won the first race of this round. It gives them time to prepare. I think anybody has to look that way, but now with Talladega hanging, you don't know. I mean, you can be the best car at Talladega. You've been there and get wiped out by somebody else. It's just one of those situations. This is important because you can clear your schedule at that win.
I think we have 8 heavy hitters. We haven't lost any of the favorites. I don't think we have any long shots. There's a great argument for any of these drivers to go to Phoenix and race for a championship. So the question is, Who's going to go to Vegas and play it conservative, or who's going to go to Vegas and push all their chips in and think that's the week to ring the bell and go to victory lane?